If slope tells us how a line is increasing or decreasing and how steeply it's increasing or decreasing, whether it's horizontal or vertical, then parallel lines, lines that run directly alongside one another, or they could actually be far apart but they never intersect. These lines are both increasing, and they're increasing at the same rate. Okay, it's not like one is more steep than the other, because if one was more steep than the other, for example, what if the second one was more steeply increasing, then somewhere they would have to cross. Okay, so if they're parallel lines, that means they have to have the same slope because they increase at the same rate or they decrease at the same rate. So parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, what about perpendicular lines? What does it mean to be perpendicular? It means that we have two lines that cross at right angles with each other. Okay, so they cross at a right angle, they're perpendicular, and perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slope. All right, now let's think about this real quick before we talk about opposite reciprocal. This line is a vertical line. So what is its slope? And this line is a horizontal line. So what is its slope? Okay, just as a small side note, horizontal lines, they're flat. They don't go up, they don't go down. They're not positive, they're not negative. What is not positive and not negative? 0. So horizontal lines have 0 slope. Vertical lines, however, are undefined. Okay, they have undefined slope. One way you can think about this is if you think about positive slope as going uphill, okay, and then the steeper the slope, the harder it is to climb, okay, and you can think about negative slope as going downhill. All right, as you go from left to right, negative slope would be downhill. All right. Then you can think about the steeper it is, the faster you would roll down the hill or something like that. So flat land, okay, so this horizontal line would be considered flat land, then it's not necessarily hard to climb, and it's not necessarily, you're not going to be rolling down a hill either, you're just going to be walking along at a normal pace, okay? It's just normal. It's 0 slope. But if you think about a vertical line, that would be like climbing uphill, okay, or walking up directly, a vertical slope. That would be nearly impossible, okay, unless you have some kind of gear, rock climbing gear or something. So since it's impossible to walk up this, that's why it has 0, or I'm sorry, not 0, undefined slope. Okay, it's undefined. You can't climb it without gear. All right, so that might help you remember vertical line, horizontal line, and the slope 0, undefined slope. Okay, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slope. Okay, so let's look at let's draw ourselves an example of this. So if we have a perpendicular line, for example, maybe that goes like this, okay, and they cross at a right angle. And let's say the slope of this first line is something positive, right? Perhaps maybe it is 2/3. Then the slope of the other line, okay, this line, would have to have opposite reciprocal. Do you remember what opposite means? Negative. And reciprocal, flip it upside down. Okay, so this would be negative and then 3/2. Okay, negative and flip it upside down. So if we had maybe something that was like this, and perpendicular line, okay, and let's say that this one has slope of -9, and they're perpendicular, so this one has to have the opposite, which this one was negative, so this one's going to be positive, and this is 9, and so it's going to be the reciprocal of 9, so positive 1/9. Okay, so flip it upside down and make it negative. All right, let's move on to a Math Excel example. This is problem set 09, number 6. All right, decide whether the pair of lines is parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So we have to find the slope of each line and decide whether they are the same slope or opposite reciprocal slope or neither. Okay, so let's say in yellow, we'll work out this one. One of the easiest ways to find whether a slope, or to find the slope of a line, is to put it in slope-intercept form. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put in slope-intercept form, and it's really easy because all you have to do is solve for y. So let's solve for y. We'll subtract 2x from both sides. Okay, and then divide everything by 3. So y equals -2/3 x plus 4/3. All right, so we can tell that our slope in this case is -2/3. And we're going to use that and compare it with the other slope. So let's do the other one in green, I guess. So we have 3x minus 2y equals 10, and we are going to put this in slope-intercept form as well by solving for y. So let's subtract 3x from both sides. Okay, minus 3x plus 10. Okay, and then divide everything by -2. So that will be positive 3/2 x minus 5. Okay, this slope then is positive 3/2. Do the y-intercepts matter at all? No, not at all. Not for parallel and perpendicular. So this one is -2/3. This one is positive 3/2. Is that the same slope? No, so they're not parallel. Is it opposite reciprocal slope? Yes. Notice how this one's negative, this one's positive, so they're opposites, and this is the reciprocal of this, so they are opposite reciprocal. Great.